Welcome to another edition of What's Up with yours truly, Dr. A. Nathan Young. We're here at our Covington campus. And listen, in just a minute, we're going to go inside for our teaching part of the service. But before we do that, listen, we want to know how this message impacts you, how it changes your life, how it inspires you. We'd like to hear how God is using this broadcast in your life. You can let us know that by emailing me, Pastor Nate at myfaithbible.org. You can also mail in a letter or a card or what have you to 1148 North Columbia Street, Covington, Louisiana, 70433. You can message me on Facebook. My name on there is A. Nathan Young. And you can message Faith Bible. Just look for My Faith Bible on Facebook. I can't wait to hear from you. Can't wait to hear how our messages have impacted you and how God's changed your life through what He's doing through us. We love you. Enjoy the message. I'll see you right back here in 26 minutes. I want to welcome those of you who are joining us by television. Thank you so much for tuning in. You've been sharing with me all of the good things and how this is blessing your life. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of the Faith Bible Church spiritual family. Let's give our first-time guests and our television audience a big, huge round of applause. Amen, 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 amen. Hey, so I got a question. Do you have anything that you wanted to do this year that you didn't get done? Do you have any goals that you started out with at the beginning of this year, and here you find yourself at the end of yet another year with goals unaccomplished? Am I the only one? Come on, let me see your hands if that's you. Amen. Amen. All of us have stuff that we wanted to do that we didn't get what? If you like myself, you got some stuff that you wanted to do that you didn't even try to do. And for most of us, when we got stuff that we don't even try to do, the reason why we don't even try is because when we look at it, although we want to do it, although our heart really desires to do it, the truth is we look at it and we say, man, it's too big. Man, it's too much. It's going to require too much. Man, it demands too much time. It's going to take this and it's going to take that. And a lot of times we look at what we want to do, and because it's too big or it's too much or whatever, we say, I'm not going to do it this year, maybe next year. Some of us have finances that we've been meaning to attack and make better for years now. But because when you look at it, you're like, oh man, this is going to take a lot. You turn away from it. Some of us got weight. Hello, somebody. That you've been getting rid of forever. And you see other people lose weight and how they doing in their weight loss journey. And you really want to do it, but you say to yourself, man, it's too big. It's too much. And here's the thing that I want to impress upon you today. The thing I want you to know is it's going to help next year be better than this year, is that it's not the big things that we often pay attention to that either make us successful or unsuccessful. But instead, it's the small things that many times we give no attention that make the big difference. I want you to get this, so I'm going to say it again. It's not the big things that either makes us successful or unsuccessful at what we're trying to do, but most of the time it's the small things that make a big, huge difference in our lives. It's the small things. Song of Solomon says this is the wisest man in the world speaking. No, not me, the person who's speaking in the Bible. He says, catch the what? Foxes. Catch the foxes for us. Watch what he says. The what? The what foxes? Notice this. Foxes are small animals. And so he says, first catch the foxes. And then he says, not just the foxes, which are small, but I want you to go after the what? Why? Because the little foxes are the ones who are ruining our vineyards. What's the principle behind this, Pastor? What Solomon was saying was, it's the small things that ruin our vineyards. Oftentimes we pay attention to the big stuff. We look at the big stuff and we point to the big stuff as the things that will be responsible for either bringing us to where we are or keeping us from getting where we want to go. But in fact, it's not the big stuff. It is the small stuff that makes us or breaks us. And I forget when me and Joyce did Dave Ramsey, Financial Peace University. And by the way, if you haven't done Dave Ramsey Financial Peace University, and you need to, because it will change your financial life. It will change your family tree. I'm telling you, I'm a living witness. When me and Joyce first did Financial Peace University, we got a class coming up in March, by the way, in March, so be on the lookout for it. When we did it, he takes you through a whole budget process, and what he does is he says, don't just write a budget like most of us do. We say, all right, I'm going to spend $50 a month on gas without taking into account how much we actually spend on gas. He makes you track your spending so that you can do it realistically instead of just throwing a number at it that's unrealistic. Because the whole thing about a budget is you want to be able to stick to it. So we were tracking our spending, and I'm thinking, it's the big stuff that's knocking our finances out of whack. Well, what we discovered was, first of all, I was the bandit. Yeah, and I didn't appreciate that. But second of all, what we discovered was I wasn't spending on big ticket items. I was $3, $4, and $5 us to death. I would spend like $300-400 a month between $3 and $5 at a time, stopping at the gas station, swiping it. See, at the time I smoked cigarettes, and what I would do is I'll stop to get a pack of cigarettes, which at the time was like $3. And not only would I get a pack of cigarettes, but I get a pack of cigarettes, a Coke, a zebra cake, and somebody know what I'm talking about. Snacks 2 or 3 times a day. And at the end of the month, it was like $300-400, sometimes more. In my mind, it was something big that was killing our budget. But in actuality, guess what it was? The small things. I'm looking at some folks, and you wondering what keeps knocking you off center. What keeps leading you away from the direction that you want to go in. What keeps bringing you away from God's purpose for your life. And you keep looking at the big stuff. But it's not the big stuff. Guess what it is? It's the small stuff. Small stuff like what, Pastor? Small stuff like not reading your word. Small stuff like not spending time in prayer. Small stuff like not being faithful to worship. This Louisiana, Mardi Gras coming up. Yeah, là-bas. Laissez les bon temps rouler. Boom, 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 boom. Right? And a whole lot of us, we're going to skip worship to go do Mardi Gras. I'm not knocking Mardi Gras. I can't knock Mardi Gras because the Bible don't knock Mardi Gras. Ain't nothing wrong with taking your family out there, catching some beads and all that kind of good stuff. The super spiritual people will tell you, well, you're worshiping the floats when you raise your hand to catch the beads. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You're catching beads. You're having fun, man. Nothing wrong with that. There is something wrong with saying to God that I put this before you because I stopped worshiping you in order to go have this fun. Don't not go to the parades. Just come to church first and then we can all go together. With a clear heart and a clean mind. It's the small stuff that knocks us off track. You miss one Sunday. Before you know it, you missed another one. Before you know it, you missed another one. Before you know it, you missed another one. And before you know it, now you a seeing ear. What's a seeing ear? One of the people who only come on Christmas and Easter. And if that's you, I'm not knocking you. I'm saying it's the small things. We look for the big stuff, but it's not the big stuff. It's the what? It's the small stuff. Well, what small stuff should we change, Pastor, in order to have a better 2018? First of all, you got to change your thoughts. He says, for as he what? As he thinks within himself, so he what? Your life will always go in the direction of your strongest thoughts. What does that mean, Pastor? That means whatever dominates my thinking is the direction that my life is going to go in. If I think I can, chances are I will. If I say to myself it's impossible, chances are for me it will be what? Your life moves in the direction of your strongest thoughts. I cannot express this to you enough. Listen. Outside of Jesus Christ, your attitude is the most important thing in your life. How important is attitude, Pastor? Your attitude is more important than your situation. Your attitude about the situation is more important than the situation itself. Why, Pastor? Because your attitude about it, the way you think about it, will either make it better or worse. Your attitude about the sickness is more important than the sickness itself. Why you say that, Pastor? Because your attitude about the sickness will either drive you to use it to bring glory to God, or it will drive you to make people think, I don't want nothing to do with that God. Because he say he's saved, but he got sick, and all he do is complain about it. And a lot of times the sicknesses that we experience are a result of our attitudes about life. Whole lot of people got cancer because life happened and they had the wrong attitude about it. Everybody's got cancer cells, but you know what releases cancer cells a lot of times? Worry, stress, depression. You ever seen somebody hit a bad spot in life? All of a sudden, they worried and stressed all the time, and then they get what? They get sick. Your attitude is vital. If you want to change your life, you have to change the way you think. A lot of times we try to change our lives starting with our feet. That's why I can't lose no weight. Because up to this point, I've been trying to change it with my feet. Telling myself, I'm going to the gym. Do you know the problem? I hadn't changed my mind about food and food's purpose in my life. And so as a result, I go to the gym, but every time one of y'all let the devil use y'all. Bring me some peach cobbler, hallelujah. Every time one of y'all let do, bring me goose cake. All that junk y'all be bringing me. Then y'all got the nerve to turn around and say, Pastor, you're getting kind of chubby. It's your fault. My mind hadn't changed. See, the reason why in a lot of areas you keep getting bogged down and you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish is because you change your actions before you change your mind. You have to change the way you think. I've been reading this book called How Not to Die. I'm changing my approach. It's called How Not to Die. And in this book, this doctor, his grandmother had heart disease, like 63 years old. She went to the doctor and they had done so many surgeries on her that she had so much scar tissue that they told her they couldn't do no more surgeries. So they sent her home to die. They said she would be dead within like a couple of years. Do you know that lady changed the way she ate? And it reversed her heart disease. You heard me. Within a few months, she went from a wheelchair to walking. And she lived to be 93 years old. But it started with her changing her thoughts. So guess what I'm reading? How Not to Die. I'm reading about all that, and it's telling me all the stuff I'm going to have to give up. And it's painful for me, y'all. I'm sitting there looking like, the chicken too? You want me to give up the chicken? That's racism. You know how black folks love chicken? It's a staple of our diet. You got fruits, vegetables, meat, and chicken. You gotta change the way you what? You gotta change your thoughts. Next thing you gotta change, you wanna have a better year, is you gotta change your words. Death and what? Life are in the power of the what? It moves from your mind to your mouth. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Watch what you say. Old people used to say, if you don't have nothing good to say, I say, if you don't have nothing good to say in the name of Jesus, shut up. Show me a marriage that's an awesome marriage, and I'll show you a marriage where the people in it are using a lot of life-giving words. You can use your tongue to give life or take life. And for many of us, the reason why our relationships are messed up, the reason why we're messed up on the job and everywhere else in life is because we use our tongue to take life. We use too many life-taking words. Show me a marriage or a relationship or interpersonal relationship where things are on the rocks, and I'll show you one where life-taking words are being used. Have couples come into my office for counseling, and it amazes me how married people can say they love one another and yet talk to one another. Had one guy come in my office and he called his wife a prostitute. But he didn't use the word prostitute. He called her a whore. I said, how do you call her that? She's your wife. And really, when you call her that, you're saying more about you than you're saying about her. Because what you're saying is, the best I could do was marry a whore. I had to settle for that. Women who call their husbands weak, and not necessarily using that word. You're saying more about yourself than you're saying about him, because you're saying you had to settle for a weak man. That's the best you could do. And the thing about words is, once they are impressed upon the mind, you can say, I'm sorry, but you can't erase them. You want more friends this year? I dare you to use life-giving words. It's more important to use life-giving words when things heat up. Because a lot of times we cool as long as things are cool. But you know when the life-taking words come? When there's heated fellowship. Why? Watch this. And if you've seen this before, don't answer this. Why that water coming out of this bottle? Because I'm what? Nope, not because I'm spilling it. Because you got the top off. Nope. Why is that water coming out this bottle? Because you're shaking it with your finger on it. Nope. Because you're making it. Nope. You know why the water coming out this bottle? Because they got water in it. Duh. If they didn't have water in it, no water could do what? Watch this. Show you something. Life has a way of shaking you. Life has a way of rattling you. Life has a way of stirring you. And the thing about it is, whenever life shakes you and rattles you and stirs you, whatever is in you, it's going to come out. Why do I use life-taking words? Because that's what's in you. Why, when life shakes me, do I say what I don't want to say? Because that's what's in you. And so you got to start with your thoughts, Put something, Romans 12:1, I beseech ye therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you submit your bodies to the Lord, a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, and do not be conformed to this world, but be ye, how? By the renewing of you got to put something else in. What comes out is based on what you put in. And the reason why junk comes out is because all you putting is junk in. I was listening to a pastor in New Orleans, man, bless my soul. He was talking about keys to greatness, Pastor Sam Blake. He said one of the keys to greatness is you got to be sensitive. Sensitive? He said, I'm not talking about sensitive like touchy-feely sensitive. He said, you got to be sensitive to the Lord, to his voice. What do you mean by that, Pastor? Too many of us as believers call Christ daddy, but we don't know his voice. We don't know when God's speaking to us. We don't know when he's saying something to us. You know Lil Wayne's voice. As soon as he come on the radio, that's Weezy right there. Am I right? Look, some of y'all looking at me, I don't listen to that, Pastor. You know Frankie Beverly voice. Soon as Frankie come, oh, you're like, dum, 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 dum. You know Whitney Houston voice. You don't even got to know what song it is. As soon as you hear the voice, you what? You know all those voices, but you don't know your daddy's voice. We knew my daddy's voice when we were kids. My daddy got home. He walked in the house, he didn't even have to yell. He just called my mama's name, Marie. Oh, daddy home, turn the channel. How do you get to know his voice? Same way you got to know the other voices. Listening. You got to put yourself in a position where you take something else in by putting yourself in a position to listen. Take time, it's the little things, to pray. And prayer is not just talking to God, but it's being quiet and listening for God. And as you do that, you will learn to hear his what? Read the word. Take time to read the word. Put something else in. And as you read the word, you will learn to hear his what? Voice. You got to put something else in. You know, I almost cussed Joyce out last night. Yes, I said it. I know a whole lot of pastors wouldn't admit that, but I almost cussed my wife out last night. I ain't say I cussed her out. I don't cuss my wife. I don't do that. I said I almost cussed my wife last night. Why? Because what's in you will come out. And a lot of times, what you desire brings it out of you. Last night, Joyce come walking in the room. She came from my mama's house with a bowl with aluminum foil wrapped around it. And whatever was in it was piled so high that the aluminum foil was sticking up off the bowl. She walked in, I said, "What's in the bowl, girl?" She said, "Mind your business." And I think it was the Holy Spirit, because I'm serious. Something told me there's chicken salad in that bowl. Miss Deborah's chicken salad is in that bowl. And if you ain't never had Miss Deborah chicken salad, you wouldn't understand. But if you've had it, Lord have mercy. I said, if they got chicken salad in that bowl, you better share. She said, "Ain't none of your business what's in the bowl, and you've been getting in my business a whole lot lately." I said, "And if you keep getting flipped, I'm going to deal with your lip." "What's in the bowl, girl?" She said, "I told you ain't none of your business what's in this bowl." So then she walked out the room. She came back in the room with 2 bowls. So now I'm feeling good about myself. I'm like, see there, I put my foot down. I don't play no games. She went in there, gave me some of whatever in that bowl. She come back and give me a bowl with about this much chicken salad in it. And she had the other whole bowl to herself. I said, you just letting the devil use you. Ain't nothing right about you right now at all. Watch this. Whatever's in you, in heated situations, in moments of conflict, it's gonna what? And you gotta learn to use life-giving words even in situations of conflict, especially when things get heated. Last thing you ought to change if you're gonna have a better year, you gotta change your habits. Habits are simply what you do over and over and over and over. Discipline is the same thing as habits. Everybody's disciplined. See, one thing that keeps messing you up is you keep telling yourself you're not disciplined. You are disciplined. Some of us are just disciplined at the wrong things because we made a habit of doing the wrong what? Like me, I'm disciplined when it comes to my eating. I've just disciplined myself to eat the wrong what? The wrong things. Whatever you do over and over and over, that's your habit. So what you got to do is you got to learn to make a habit of doing something else over and over and what? Well, Pastor, you ain't telling us nothing we don't already know. That's simple. That's easy, but it's hard to do. It's hard. It's not easy to establish new habits. It's not easy to get rid of old habits. I know. But the Bible has an answer for that too. Romans 7:15. This is the Apostle Paul speaking. This is the Apostle Paul. This dude wrote most of the New Testament. This dude, when he got saved, a light shined down from heaven and knocked him to the ground. And Jesus himself asked him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? Now, I don't know what your salvation experience was like, but I don't think the clouds opened up and God talked to you directly from heaven, Jesus Christ, and said, why are you persecuting me? He had that kind. This dude, he was one of the best Christians you'll ever know. And yet this is what he says, for what I am doing, I do not what? I don't understand what I'm doing. Why, Paul? He says, because I'm not practicing what I would like to do, but I am doing the very thing that I what? Can anybody relate to that? Yes. The thing that I would love to do, that's what I'm not what? And all the stuff that I know I don't need to be doing, Pastor, that's what I find myself what? Can I get a witness? Well, what's the answer? He gives us the answer. Watch verse 24. He says, wretched man that I am, watch this. Who will set me free from the body of this what? Yeah. Notice what he says. As it relates to the things that I do that I don't want to do, and the things that I don't do that I want to do, he didn't say what. He said, who will set me free? You know the reason why you can't get past